Hello everyone, my name is Kunal Rao. I'm a researcher in NEC Laboratories America in Princeton, New Jersey. And today I'm going to be talking about Echo, which is edge cloud optimization of 5G applications. This is a joint work with Giuseppe, Wangpin, and Chuck. So let's get started. What we are seeing nowadays is for emerging AI applications, we need very, very low latency, very low response times, which is in the order of milliseconds, mostly like less than 100 milliseconds. Uh, for example, applications in AR, VR, or industrial robotics, they process very high dimensional sensor data, and they need to get the data to remote location, get the processing done, and get the responses back so that the overall experience is very, very smooth. And we also see that these AI applications, they have to continuously adapt to changing conditions, and they have to be very accurate based on the different conditions. They have to adapt and produce highly accurate results. For example, in autonomous driving or in AI assistants, we need this high accuracy. Also, these applications need to scale to a large number of devices. So high scalability is another characteristics and requirement for these AI applications. So what we see is that for these different characteristics, just using cloud directly is not going to serve the purpose, because going to the cloud, getting the processing done there and coming back, the overall latency is very, very high. It is greater than hundreds of milliseconds, sometimes very, very high, over 500 milliseconds also it takes. So to address this problem, the industry has come up with an edge cloud infrastructure in which the edge compute resources are closer to the source of data. And with 5G, we are able to get very high speed and high bandwidth communication between the edge and the devices. So this enables faster processing at the edge, which leads to lower response times. And that is how the applications can benefit from this. But then what we note is that the resources at the edge are very limited and often very expensive. So just using the edge only is not going to be cost effective. So we see now that we have multiple levels of computing stack. So one is at the edge, one is at the cloud, and there could be in between as well. So we have different tiers of computing architectures, and then we have different compute resources and how we place application onto these resources and get low responses while keeping the cost low is a challenging problem, and this problem is what Echo addresses. So we pick specifically microservices based applications for Echo. So in this we have an application which is decomposed into smaller tasks called microservices, and these together work in conjunction with each other to produce the output that the application expects. So we consider representative video analytics applications, and these applications are specifically chosen so that they show different characteristics and they have different complexity. So the first one we have is the investigation and forensics application. So in this application, this is basically used for law enforcement and for federal government agencies. So they expect they have different video files, and they expect to find people and recognize people from these video files. So for this, they they need face detection to be performed on people who are seen in these videos. So the video files, they have to first be transferred onto remote location, and then they have to be processed. So we have microservices called video sensor, which decodes the video, provides the frames to face detection, which detects the faces, and then it goes to the feature extraction, which extracts features which are unique signature of faces, and then these features are then sent out, and then the investigation and forensics agencies can then use that to match for people. So this is a bandwidth sensitive application, which because we need to push large amounts of video files over 5G network. And the red arrows, it actually shows the critical pipeline, and this which determines the overall latency for the application. And in this case, we have a single database which is attached to the alerts manager. The second application is a real-time monitoring application. So in this application, we stream video files directly. Not video files, the video frames. In the previous case, it was video files. In this case, it is video frames that directly go over 5G to the video sensor microservice, which then decodes the frame and sends it out to face detection. Face detection will then take faces, detect faces, and then those faces will go to feature extraction, which extracts features from these faces, and then it goes to face matching. Face matching basically matches the features with a gallery of faces that have been pre-enrolled. And these faces, if there is any match with the gallery, then that gets pushed out. So basically it is for monitoring a particular area for a person of interest. And in this case, we see that this has a critical pipeline through some of the microservices, while other microservices like the biometrics manager, it's not in the critical pipeline. And this is slightly more complex than the previous one because it has more microservices and it also has multiple databases involved. One is to keep the alerts, the other one is to have the gallery of faces, which is the watch list. A slightly different variant of this application is shown below, wherein we want to identify people who are not in the watch list. So if somebody is trying to identify, if somebody is trying to hide their faces intentionally, those kinds of people also we want to find in this particular application. So for that, we need to have person detection along with face detection so that we can identify people who are not showing their faces. So in this case, we have multiple different paths which are happening in parallel, and these are in the critical pipeline as shown in the red. So we have to fuse the person information with the face information, and then that gets pushed out for matching, and then ultimately the alerts are sent out for people who are not in the watch list. So this again is latency sensitive, and it is slightly more complex than previous two because it has multiple critical pipelines and it also has multiple databases. So all this information, that is the connection between these microservices and what are the critical pipelines, what is the overall tolerable latency for the application. So all this information we expect the developer to provide to Echo. So this slide is showing the overall system architecture for Echo. So as mentioned before, we use microservices based applications, and the specific knowledge related for this application is given to Echo, and then the application specific runtime basically is used to map these different microservices onto different tiers. And the runtime also continuously monitors the behavior of application as well as the network. And if there are any changes, then it will self-adjust to these changing conditions. So let's look a little deeper into the runtime itself. So in the runtime, we have two components. One is the policy engine, and the other one is the scheduler. So the policy engine, basically, it will partition and place the microservices at different tiers. So in our case, for Echo, we modeled the application as a graph in which the vertices are the microservices and interconnections between them are the edges. And we do graph partitioning, which will determine the optimal placement of these microservices across different tiers. So the policy engine also sometimes may introduce proxies in the overall application pipeline to make the application execution go even more faster and make it efficient. And as mentioned earlier, the policy engine is the one which will continuously monitor the network connectivity and the application performance. And that information is given to the scheduler. The scheduler is the one which will actually execute the microservices on appropriate tiers, and it will also dynamically self-adjust if the conditions have changed. Now let's look deeper into how we formulate the problem and how we solve it. So we formulate it as a graph partitioning problem. Again, as mentioned before, we have the vertices of the graph are the microservices, and edges are the communication between microservices. And we note down the time to process on the edge and the time to process on the cloud given by these terms, TV edge and TV cloud. And the time for data transfer is, it depends on the upload bandwidth and the download bandwidth and the amount of data being transferred. So the total latency to process one unit of work is given by the total time that it takes for the microservices running on the edge and then the microservices running for the cloud, the total processing time, and the communication time between moving data between these two. So this is the overall latency, and for the critical pipeline, this latency we try to keep it under the acceptable, acceptable or tolerable latency limit that is provided by the developer. So additionally, we also want to make sure that the overall cost of running the application is low. So for this, we consider the price also in running the microservices in the edge and running in the cloud, which is given by those terms PV edge and PV cloud. And the overall cost will be the cost for running them, including the price running them in the edge and the cloud. So we want to keep the cost low as while meeting the application response latencies. So this is the overall test bed for our experiments. So we have two separate regions, one in the East Coast and one in the West Coast. And we use wavelength zone from which is provided by AWS wavelength zones, which is actually in the Verizon data centers. So Verizon and AWS, they have partnership with each other. And then AWS basically has something called as VPC, Virtual Private Cloud, in which we have the availability zone and then the wavelength zone, which they can talk to each other. And then we have our devices in these different regions, which can use the Verizon MiFi 2100 hotspot. Through this, we are able to get 5G connectivity into the wavelength zone, which acts as the multi-access edge computing MEC. And then the availability zone is the cloud. So we go through the 5G into the wavelength zone and then to the availability zone. So we have these regions in the New York and San Jose area, basically. And then we have a central server in Ohio region through which the deployment of applications and the coordination, that thing happens from there. So one thing to note is that we use P3.x large instances in the AWS wavelength as well as availability zones. And we see that the price to run the same instance in availability zone is 0.1664 per hour, whereas to run it in the wavelength zone, exactly the same instance, is 0.224 per hour. So this shows that it is more expensive to run on the edge while to run on the cloud. So the overall delivery and management happens through the central server in Ohio region, as we mentioned before. So we have two components there. One is the cloud scheduler and the cloud monitor. So the cloud scheduler basically manages location specific application deployment, and the cloud monitor monitors the connectivity and deployment status at all these locations. So let's say Alice from San Jose connects to this Ohio region server, and she asks to start a particular application, which on a particular camera, which is located in San Jose. So immediately we identify that the closest region for this is in the SFB area, and then the availability zone is in Oregon. And then we just connect these two and get the application going. And then we, let's say, have Bob connecting from New York. In this case, we see that North Virginia region is closer, and then the NYC area wavelength zone is closer to run the application, which is in New York. So in that case, we set up everything, and it all transparently starts running. So let's see some of the experimental results. So for real-time monitoring application, we are showing here that the overall latency when we run on premises is that's the fastest that you can get, which includes the compute and network latency involved. And then for wavelength zone, because of the extra communication, it is slightly higher, whereas in availability zone, it is much higher because of the long network latency. It goes even beyond the 600 milliseconds. Whereas when we use echo and run it in wavelength plus availability zone area, the overall latency is much lower. So because we use edge and cloud, that is the wavelength and availability zone, to run the entire application, we wanted to see whether the overall bandwidth and overall latency gets affected during the course of running the application. So we monitored it, and we saw that over a period of 24 hours, the upload bandwidth, we saw that it degraded, and it went down in three instances, and 3 times it went down. And then when we did not have our echo dynamic mapping turned on, the latency of the application suddenly spiked in all these 3 cases. Whereas in another case, when we had the dynamic mapping on in a separate setup, in that setup, we did not see this spike happening. So this shows that Echo was able to dynamically move things around and adjust to the changing conditions. In this case, it was a network disruption. So it was able to bring the services from the cloud onto the Mac in wavelength zone and run the application without getting the latency affected. So here we are showing the overall latency. So in here the left figure is showing the overall latency without using our echo runtime, whereas with using our runtime is shown in green. So with using our runtime, it's slightly over 100 millisecond, whereas if we do not use it is above 250 millisecond, which is very slow. And on the right side, we are seeing the overall cost for deployment for a 100 camera setup. So without using our runtime, the cost goes almost $10,000 per month. Whereas if we use Echo, the cost goes to slightly over $8,000 per month. So this shows that Echo is able to improve the overall latency by 2x while bringing the cost down by 16% for a 100 camera deployment. Thank you. And please read the paper for further details. Thanks.